I like when you categorize your questions in a lump that is behooves me. So both of those guys, uh, I guess fortuitously, Baker will not go on IR, so it's a week-to-week deal. Um, uh, but I think there was stuff reported about um, MCL, and the good news is that report is true. And the board, so it'll be non-surgical, and we'll be taking it week by week. And then, the we had Rob Hunt was it was unique because we had been extremely proactively conservative with him, so we didn't anticipate him having a setback. However, it was like a unique situation where the defense brought a different blitz pattern, and he had to kind of recover in a unique way that you would never. Bottom line is, it was extremely stressful and pretty abnormal for him to have to open up his gate as much as he did. So he we'll go back to our conservative nature with that and do our best. But it was just kind of like a perfect storm for him. But he'll be week to week as well. So we'll see. Yeah, no, I think the time off helped Javon, and we'll be conservative with him for the sake of the football team. He's a guy we rely on, and fortunately we have good depth at that position. I think case in point this past game. So we will be conservative in nature, but he'll be I'll be hearing from him all week, I'm sure. And then yeah, the Armstead deal is uh, what has snowballed, with his injuries. It's kind of par for the course where he's, you know, he's going to do everything he can. We'll make sure to give him some opportunities to feel confident going into this next game before we make that decision. But if he's unable to go, as you guys have seen, we have several players at that position that we're confident in. I am absolutely so proud of him in particular because it frustrates him more than anybody, even being on the injury report, battling through the stuff. He took measures to try to get in front of this, and it hasn't worked out. Having said that, he understands his role on the team with such wisdom that while he's going through the trials and tribulations of wanting to be out there in the worst way and then having some setbacks, he is not making it anybody else's problem. He's supporting his teammates. He's completely invested on a day-to-day basis, and I think it's kind of I don't think people give credit where credit's due. It's abnormal to play that position on a shortened work week regardless, because typically for the normal player, that's a high anxiety position. Pass protection that a lot of third downs or a lot of games are fall into the balance where you have known pass rushers, the best athletes in the game, and you're on an island a lot of times. That's not everybody's cup of tea. People have anxiety on a normal work week. To be able to battle through stuff and sometimes not get all the reps, but then be able to perform on Sunday, I think that is extraordinary. I don't think he knows going out to a game sometimes that, hey, I'm going to have to be conservative at the point of attack here, or I'm going to have to do what I have to do. That selflessness, knowing that he makes us a better football team regardless, is pretty much unheard of. He's really grown he came to this team as a leader, and he's just really thrived that way. So you'd be hard pressed to find many players that I'm, taken aback by, and what he's able to do and contribute to us when he's literally capable at all, has been humongous for our team and for our offense. Call me when it's a 13-game season, and I'll be excited to talk about the next game. I think, for all of us that have been around the NFL long enough, you get about 4 games left, and that becomes a lot of the conversation. And it does take a lot of execution to get there, but it's kind of one of those tricky things. There's a lot of distraction, like look over here while this is going on, that you have to battle to be successful in the National Football League. And the only thing that really matters is how we continue our development of mastering each and every day. So that's cool to know. It's always cool to know that you are doing well relative to your peers. But I think when you start focusing on, all right, a group of games, or we go this, or the only reason why we're 9-3 is because we haven't penciled in any of the wins that people have told us to pencil in. That's why the games that we have won, typically each and every team isn't discussed with the regard of like, oh yeah, they beat the teams they're supposed to. Well, there's a lot of teams that are below 500 that are getting wins against teams above 500. I think you can't. It's interesting, kind of cool, and I'm happy for the fan base to get that excitement, and that's all nice. But we have a job to do today, and if we shortchange ourselves, just did film review of the game with the players. We shortchanged ourselves in what we learned from this last game, on what is a typical NFL Monday. If we shortchange and are worried about anything other than the Tennessee Titans, when we're game playing on NFL Wednesday, which would be Thursday here, then all of those conversations and stories literally don't matter at all. So we have to. I firmly believe you have to be. It's almost like being in shape. You have to be on top of your process and how you prepare, and how you play together, and that you let that slip for one game, and you can lose all of your momentum. So my reaction to it is but irrelevant and erroneous for what's the most important thing, and that's a game that will be played this week on national television, and it will be the only game that matters to each and every player in that locker room. I can just tell by the way they've approached the whole season. I think it's the second time it's been brought to my attention, and you're so invested in your own in your own situation. I'd be like, well, to me it feels like the healthiest year for quarterbacks ever. So, but I don't remember. I mean, that seems like a lot. It does, and who knows what the correlation or causation of that is. But yeah, that seems like I think typically it feels like it'd be 35 to 40 total in a given season. That's completely not factual, just guess. But that seems pretty excessive because, I don't know, by my math, there's 32 teams. So, yeah. that feels like it's almost half the league that's dealing with it, plus the guys that are on 2 or 3. So, but shoot, for the Miami Dolphins, this is the year of quarterback health. For this team, I reference it a bunch. Obviously, it's a proud. You want to win in this league, and I know that to win consistently, that's part of the formula. Being on the various teams that have been on, and for this team, if you have a C on your chest, like we reference it a lot, the captains, and then there's a player in each position that represents the leadership council. The collection of those two groups make a lot of decisions that I put in the players' hands. It's kind of filtered through them, and they I think a lot of guys have been trying to go above and beyond. You have various people come in the building to speak to your team, like over the last 2 years, and I think what shows me people are listening, and it's really hard to not go above and beyond when Christian Wilkins is mandating that guys, Christian and Zach are mandating that groups meet together. The way that Tua has grown in that regard is monumental. But on top of that, you have guys like Tyreek Hill who have taken a complete giant step as leaders, understanding how much their investment impacts how much other people invest. You have guys like Alec Ingold that do a tremendous job of that. There's a lot of orchestration that Toronto Armstead does. The step that X has taken with and then with Jalen joining the crew, and Javon Holland's always been outstanding with that. I think Jerome Baker's taken a step in that regard, and that's always been kind of the mantra of Duke Riley. The list is lengthy, and you can go to every position, and I think that's the fact of the matter is, on NFL game days, this team is very prideful about doing their best, and you see a team that strains, that plays together, that cheers for each other. All of these things are accumulation. What you see on Sundays is is all about the investment during the week, and when you're challenging guys during the week, as a player, you're challenging a peer, and then they rise to the challenge, and then they make a play on Sunday, then people lose their mind. That's where all the energy and the excitement comes from within the team on Sundays, is because they're putting a lot of work, a lot of due diligence into the work week, and that's why we've gotten better at things. Yeah, I think he did a tremendous job this past game. I think it's more difficult in game to adjust, although he takes reps that way each and every week. But I think case in point, there was they called it a completion and fumble, but a 3rd and long that he a couple plays or the series after Bake went down, and he makes a play that he has really no backup on, because he's very locked into the keys, and didn't hesitate at all, and just triggered and made a big time play to get the defense off the field. Very confident, because he's shown me reason to be confident. He takes reps being the communicator from coach to players each and every week within practice for that exact reason, and also that he did an unbelievable job in the off season. It was not like, he competed to and really pushed Bake immensely to be where he's at, and so we've known the entire season that if he's in there, we're expecting expecting things to progress as they normally would, because he's that type of player that's that capable. And it's one of those positions that we have some good players at. So happy for his opportunity because I know he'll take full advantage of it. Yeah, no, he's in terms Channing got out there with the defense and did a good job in his snaps at the end of the game. And everybody's really called upon when you have a fixture of your defense that's usually not missing from games. So he's part of that nucleus as well. I think the way that really this locker room looks at everything is the second that injuries do happen. We've had a number of them all across the board at almost every position, I think the answers to the plays that are lost when a person's going down, they all feel like those answers are within the locker room. So we feel pretty good about the same way that we've been saying the same thing about the offensive line for months. It's just an opportunity for guys that have been diligently working so that when their opportunity comes, they take full advantage of it. I think, well, it's kind of like those are really that's something that he can't even do unless the hours upon hours of deliberate practice are accumulated with the players that he's thrown to. So, like when you watch him do it, each and every player that he's throwing to, and he probably had like 3 or 4 this past game. He does it a lot, but it's always to players that he knows exactly where they're going to be. He can trust, and you bank those type of reps where he has a crazy memory of timing and just the physiological memory of executing a ball to a certain distance. He can spend his time making sure that window's open, so that I think that the guy he probably does it the most to is Tyreek Hill, and so that's I kind of see those two players as the same guy now. Where is it either one of their incredible plays? I don't care. I think it's more they're able to do what they're best put on the planet to do at their very best because of the diligent work that they've put in to prepare themselves for those moments. Cool?
Thank you, Coach.
All right, guys.